Winter is the season everyone wants to skip. Spring gets the motivational quotes, summer gets the poolside content, autumn gets the aesthetic Instagram posts. Winter gets silence, darkness, the part where nothing visible happens. And that's exactly why most people waste it. Because while you're waiting for some cosmic sign that it's time to start, your ancestors were already gathering firewood in the dark. They understood something you've been running from. Nothing grows without first rotting in the ground. This is episode 3, Gestation and Renewal, the part of winter you can't photograph, the part that doesn't get applause. Let's talk about what happens when no one's watching. The Ashanti of Ghana have a proverb. By coming and going, a bird weaves its nest. Not by announcing the nest, not by posting progress updates, not by waiting until it feels right. By coming and going, over and over, with twigs you can barely see. You want to know why nothing's happening in your life? Because you're treating transformation like a light switch. One decision, one moment, one viral breakthrough. Your ancestors knew better. They knew transformation is a bird, making 100 trips you'll never notice, building something that only makes sense only after it's done. You're in winter right now, the dormant phase, the part where it looks like nothing's moving. But that's not emptiness, that's gestation. The seed doesn't post about germinating. It just germinates. In the dark, in the cold, alone. And if you can't handle that, if you need constant validation that something's happening, you're going to abandon the nest halfway through. Because the bird doesn't feel productive. The bird just is productive. There's a difference. The Igbo of Nigeria say, the beginning is the most important part of the work. Not the middle, not the finish line, not the moment it finally looks good. The beginning, the part you keep delaying because it's not ready, because you don't have all the information, because Mercury is in retrograde or whatever excuse you workshopped this week. Here's what your ancestors knew that you don't. The beginning doesn't require readiness, it requires motion. You think they waited until they felt prepared to survive winter? No. They started gathering when the leaves turned. They didn't check their horoscope. They didn't wait for motivation. They began. Badly. Imperfectly. Scared. Because beginning is the only thing that separates people who survive winter from people who romanticize it on TikTok. You're sitting in the dark right now, waiting for some clarity that only comes after you move, waiting for the plan to reveal itself before you take the first step. But that's not how gestation works. That's not how seeds work. The seed doesn't see the tree. It just cracks open in the soil and starts. And if you can't do that, if you can't start without knowing the ending, you're not preparing for spring. You're just cold. The Ovambo of Angola have a proverb that should be tattooed on every vision board. If you do not gather firewood, you cannot keep warm. Not manifest warmth, not align with warmth energy, not wait until gathering firewood feels authentic. Gather firewood. This is the part where winter stops being poetic and starts being survival. You can meditate all you want. You can journal. You can light candles and say affirmations. But if you didn't gather firewood, if you didn't do the unsexy repetitive work when no one was watching, you're just cold with good intentions. Your ancestors didn't debate this. They didn't workshop it in a Facebook page. They gathered. Because winter doesn't negotiate. Winter doesn't care about your potential, your trauma, or your next breakthrough. Winter asks one question: did you gather firewood? And if the answer is no, you don't get to complain about the cold. Gestation isn't passive. Renewal isn't a gift. They're the result of work you did in the dark. Work no one saw. Work that didn't feel like progress, but it was the whole time. So here's your winter work. 3 uncomfortable questions. 1. What are you building that no one can see yet? Not planning to build, not thinking about building. Building. Right now, in the dark. 2. What beginning have you been avoiding because it's not perfect? What's the first twig? Not the nest, the twig. 3. What firewood are you gathering? Or are you just cold? What's the unsexy repetitive work you're doing when motivation runs out? Write them down. Or don't. Winter doesn't care. But your spring will. Because nothing renews without first being buried. And if you can't handle the burial, you don't get the bloom. This is Winter Wisdom, Episode 3. Subscribe if you want the rest. Or don't. The bird builds either way. See you in Episode 4.